Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us on our Firaxis live stream. My name is Pete Murray, and I'm joined today by the illustrious MadDjinn, YouTuber extraordinaire, Civ player, non-Perel, an absolute master of the game, and here today to give us a masterclass. And you're in town for FraxCon this weekend.
Yes, I am, and I'm barely awake at the moment. But don't worry, this will still work.
Yeah, this is really exciting. So MadDjinn has brought a ton of saves today. We're going to go through. We're going to talk about advanced strategy in the game, kind of how to use the factions to your optimum advantage. He's also going to walk us through and see some differences in some of the abilities from what we've seen in previous streams, so you can see how we're balancing the game here right now, and based on your feedback in large part.
And I apologize to Ariok up front. You may have a lot of work to do this weekend.
So this is going to be kind of a cool show. Might run a little bit long today, but there's going to be a ton to talk about, a lot of really cool things. Stay tuned, and again, this will be online afterwards too, so you can point your friends to it. So let's go ahead and we're going to get started. And the very first thing you wanted to do in today's live stream is to go and show everybody the multiplayer lobby.
I think I wanted the keyboard.
Oh, you wanted the keyboard for that. All right.
Stealing
so
the
here,
keyboard.
I'm going to give you the keyboard. And then what I'm
mine.
going to do is I'm going to jump us into multiplayer here.
Yes.
And we'll show everybody the multiplayer options. We'll call this a standard game over the local network.
Yeah, so one of the things that has definitely changed is multiplayer. Sufficiently different from Civilization 5's code base to suggest that a lot of stuff has changed, and you should be much more amused with it. So you can see setting up multiplayer game has, it's very similar, but when we go into host game,
Okay.
we aren't actually going into multiplayer game, but we're just going to show. So you can see that you can choose all your different little faction pieces. You can leave them randomized if you really want. So as for a multiplayer game, and if you don't want everybody always picking the heavy-duty choice, you can just make everybody go random. All the choices are there.
Yep, this is your whole seated start, basically, in one handy menu selection.
Now, also what has changed is if you go up to game option.
Oh, yeah.
You can get right back to that previous screen where you were and not have to kick everybody out of the lobby or do anything else. DLC allowed is on that list.
And that's to give you access to the Exoplanet map pack right now.
Yeah, at the moment, yes.
Yeah.
So.
And then you pick who gets to participate in the game.
Yes. Well, each individual slot, very similar to how Brave New World had it at the end. But there is that observer to help things out. And then there's that little button down in that corner that seems different. Save configuration.
Pretty handy. So if you have that regular group that you play with every Saturday night, you save that loadout, and then when you're ready to go, just jump right back into it.
Yeah, when you get into Polycraft After Dark, it really helps to have configurations.
Very cool. All right, so that's multiplayer. I know people have had lots of questions about that. And thank you for walking us through that.
Okay, now I'll actually give you that back. So that
all right. And now the very first...
I'll take this one, though.
Okay, so now he's taking the mouse from me. So why don't you go ahead, and the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the Slavic Federation, and we're going to set up a game with them, and we're going to fake this out a little bit. So you're actually going to crank the difficulty way up, because...
There is no such thing as not the top level. I think for this we're just going to keep it on small map.
Okay. All right.
It doesn't really matter.
All right, so hit accept. And
so Slavs.
Slavs, okay.
So people have been wondering, can you change the name of...
Yes, they have. And we've shown that sort of briefly, but we'll let you go ahead and...
I guess, well, you can talk about it as I
Okay.
go through and pick some stuff. I'm just going to pick random stuff as we go.
Hey, did you notice there's that random button up at the top that if you really don't want to pick a particular option, you can always choose the random version of it.
Yes, and that is absolutely something that was called out for and asked for by the community after we started showing things off, especially with your live streams. And hey, look, it showed up.
We listen to you guys, we really do. All right, why don't you go into advanced setups and we'll change the name of our
Where? Oh,
up
sorry.
top.
I don't know why I was looking in the bottom corner.
So go ahead and we're going to edit the first team name. So go ahead and just click that for right now, and there's a little edit button.
Oh, right, that button.
We're going to change the leader name, and I have the keyboard, so I'm going to exercise
Power of
executive control.
Might be a good thing. You can type what is good.
I think I will. Oh, this keyboard.
See, the
So this
keyboard,
is,
once it's been over with me, it doesn't want to go back to
it's
you
like,
anymore.
go back to the Pro.
Except I
So, all right.
Oh, well,
this is the problem.
Peter Mew.
Peter Mew. All right.
Pete Moo.
Sponsor name.
Yes.
Yeah, you would be able to change it here. So if we wanted to
I
call
think-
ourselves the People's Republic of
Of-
Pete, we would do
yeah.
that here. And your sponsor adjective as well can be
Yeah.
changed there. So let's
So-
go ahead and we'll accept that
Nothing
for right
is
now.
really that different with that. So
No, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But instead of launching this game, these are the advanced options that we've shown in the course of it. Let's go ahead and, earlier today when we were doing setup,
right.
we came across a really, really cool map. And we can talk a little bit about the choices that we made for that. Very similar to this, we picked the Slavic Federation, we picked a different kind of colonist, and we picked retrograde thrusters. And that retrograde thrusters is going to be key for what you're going to see on the screen in just a moment when this loads.
This was called Luxkill, I think.
Yeah, we joke in Civ about having that legendary start. You know, when you get that one Petra start that determines, like you look at it and on turn one, you're like, I win the game. This was that. So first of all, you want to point out the space that you see now.
Yes. As people over on the forums and in streams have talked about, the retrograde thruster was nice in the fact that you got a larger area to choose from, but you didn't quite have the ability to see where you were going. So you could have moved your capital further away from the start choice, but
You could have dropped it right near a bunch of alien nests because of that.
yeah, or in the middle of a bunch of canyons and oops, now
Yeah.
you've got worse terrain because you didn't see what was going on.
Problem solved. Now
Yes.
you can see for, what is that, 6 tiles in every direction?
Yes, that is a lot more terrain. So
Yeah.
what does that show you? That shows you where those nice little runes are, so you can just quickly go straight to them.
Those are the resource pods right there.
Yeah.
We've got 2 abandoned expeditions two abandoned colonies right near us, so that's someplace our explorers can go right from the get-go. And this is also a fantastically resource-rich area. You can go ahead and point that out.
Double float stone to start, so that is a lot of energy when you start getting those built.
And just 2 tiles out, so you're going to grab
Yeah.
them in the first 50 turns easily.
Yeah. There is Firaxite also within reach.
So again, when you start building the observatory,
Yeah.
you're going to get that science boost from that.
Yeah. Speaking about science boosts, I can.
To the left of the top floatstone there.
Oh, right in here.
Yep, there you go.
Sorry. We also have the copper, which is the network science boost.
Yep. So this city is going to be swimming in science.
We do have some fiber, so a little extra production on that grassland, which is really nice, and of course a little tuber. But there is also 1, 2, 3 algae, and with a biofuel plant,
Yep, all of the energy.
all of your energy.
All of the energy. So the amazing part is that's going to offset things like terrascapes later on. Not that you're going to be building a lot of terrascapes. I mean, there's some open marshland around there, but this is a pretty resource-rich map.
Yeah, not to mention all the hills for all that production. You even have a little river here for farms
Yep.
if you really need them.
There's a marshland there too, so you can some of those buildings that use the marsh to kind of power up a little bit too. That's there. There's even a xenomass resource, which is
Yeah.
I think just amazing. Right there, you can see it southeast of the site, the expedition site there. Again, if you're not pursuing Harmony, that's something you can get a pretty good deal for on the trading network.
Yep. And this is another great thing about the retrograde thrusters, because you can see that it's xenomass, and you can also see that there's no miasma,
Which
or
means?
a nest.
Yep.
So there's no nest to start, and there's no miasma, which means there is no future nest.
That's going to spawn on that spot either. So
Yeah.
very safe source of xenomass, yeah. So this is a pretty amazing start to a game. This is one of those, goes in the save folder for legendary openings.
And speaking of alien nests,
Oh, and there it is. And that's actually the closest one, is a fair distance away.
yeah. So you know not to go this way right away,
Right.
which is great.
Yeah, and actually we're on kind of like the best habitable spot of this continent, although
That's called canyon, that's
Yeah.
canyon. So you know not even to bother going that way, because you could have easily gotten stuck with your explorer going up here first and then finding out, oh, gotta go all the
Dead
way
end.
back
Yeah,
around.
yep.
And then this side's the dead end because you have the alien nest. So the only way north is actually through here.
actually, if you were going to go Purity for endgame. Like you could build a city in that pass to the southern end of the continent, and that would be a pretty effective choke point if anybody tried to come through and, say take out your settlers as you were settling them. You basically build Minas Tirith right in the pass there and set it up.
Yeah, but we aren't here to get all giggly over this one start location.
Oh, all right, go ahead.
that you instantly saved, of course. We're actually here to talk about the Slavic Federation, their orbital units, and of course that free tech.
When do you get the free tech? How do you spend that free tech?
You get that free tech when you throw an orbital unit up, which we all know. So I'm going to try not to cover all the stuff that you've already covered in the previous live streams, or people have figured it out on the coast. So people have already talked about going into genetic mapping to get that first bit of purity and to get the gene vault with that first orbital unit. That is okay. But if you want to make a stretch in a recent game, which I don't necessarily have on me, I ended up with surrogacy.
A tier 3 tech out in the third ring there as you're launched, as your free tech from your first launch.
Not as the free tech from the launch, that was augmentation.
Oh, wow.
I used a different free tech to grab surrogacy. And this was by about turn 112, 113 that I had surrogacy.
So you had access to Aegis units.
Yes.
Well,
that quickly.
Good grief.
It did have a bit to do with preventing myself from wanting to launch those orbital units, which again, slowing down that orbital unit spam is a bit rough because orbital units and trade units do not get along in a city.
Yes.
You can only have one or the other active at the moment.
So if that orbital unit is sitting on a launch pad, you're not able to build or buy a trade unit inside that city.
Exactly. So that does have some downward pressure to wanting to stick around that long. But I did have a good setup there. So personally going up through Bionics actually made sense. And I guess one of the things we can give away is that the Institute, its building quest.
You want to talk about it?
You get a choice of 5% research in every city that has the Institute. Again, one of these little percentage-based boosts that people have been trying to find where they are in the game.
Yeah.
And they haven't been able to find them. So that's one. Or you get a free tech.
Yep.
So
and you took the free tech.
I took the free tech to get to the Aegis.
Yep.
But I mean, realistically, turn 100, 5% more on an institute that already has multiple specialists.
Yeah.
Long game, multi-city. That is definitely worth more than a tech.
Definitely.
But a little quick surrogacy.
So sometimes taking that short-term gain will get you another long-term gain that's going to get you. So you're going to say, I'm going to make this would normally be the optimal decision for a longer stretch, but I'm going to make the counterintuitive choice because I can use that counterintuitive choice to bootstrap for another long-term choice. Very cool.
Now, obviously, something that's probably been mentioned is that the floatstone quarry is over here.
Yeah, it's over in terraforming. Yep.
The purity units are over here.
Yeah, it's not an accident.
Not an accident, mostly because this unit, this battle suit, is so much stronger. It also does not require floatstone, so that you don't have to worry about that.
It does require titanium, but titanium's a lot easier to find, generally speaking.
And it's also in the generalized direction on the tech tree.
Yes.
But it is combat strength-wise stronger than most soldiers and combat rovers of equal affinity level. So it's a little harder to get, but once you get it, it'll help you a lot. So,
everybody loves Space Marines.
Yes.
They're always really good.
Exactly. But again, of course, you have your Faraxite, your robotics, and you have your Xenomasswell over at Alien Sciences. So depending on which affinity you're planning, instead of going for that quick little wonder, you could always go straight for your affinity-based choice strategic resource.
And again, with the Slavic Federation, given that you've got early satellite accesses if you're going up through ecology, or you always have the potential to find that solar collector in the resource pod, it's very possible in that first 100, 150 turns to get that tech that's going to allow you to unlock that resource faster through that launch than through other
And very specifically, as long as you're not going supremacy, you research ecology. If you don't get the free solar tech, well,
Yep.
you can always just throw out the miasmic repulsor, and you've got the strategic resource of your choice.
Interesting.
Now, of course, using the free tech to come up here for the ectogenesis pod is always a nice thing. And I know people are talking to us like, oh, that's a wonder with the plus one. But the thing about farms
end up doing a lot of things in the course of this game.
Yeah.
They grow up pretty quick.
Might spoil that one.
Nope, that's fine. Go ahead and spoil it.
You've spoiled that one?
No, I want you to spoil it.
And there could also be this one over here.
That's one of my favorites.
Yes.
And keep in mind that stacks with all of the other farm bonuses you're getting. So over time, those farms don't just produce food; they produce every dang thing under the sun.
Definite. So you have your food, you have your generator. Basically, farm spam is okay because
they're going to end up being useful. They're like mini terrascapes.
Yeah, just not quite as terrible in the terrifying sort of way.
I understand.
The generator is also a very similar type improvement, but we won't get there.
Yeah, I'm very fond in Supremacy of generator spam. That's a lot of fun. All right, is there anything else we want to touch on the Slavic Federation while we're here and getting that free tech going?
Otherwise, there is deeper tech options. Keeping in mind that just because you can take a deep tech doesn't mean you should. Some of these buildings are linked directly to affinity levels, and if you go very quickly to get there,
you know how to build it, you just don't have the cultural moray to build it. Right?
Exactly. So it becomes a question more of like, why did you just do that? Now, there are obvious things, like if you grab vertical farming early, which, by the way, you can do with Slavic Federation, chemistry through biology,
and then
hard
drop
check,
down to,
and then drop and grab it. You still get your purity, but all of a sudden, those farms are sweet.
Yeah.
That sort of tech makes sense because you can just jump straight in.
Okay.
But I wouldn't jump to a tech that requires
an affinity level of a given value.
that you can't get.
That makes sense.
Plus, some buildings are just really expensive.
All right. Well, let's while we're waiting for another save to load, I've got some questions that have been submitted on our forums and other places.
Great.
So let's go ahead and we're going to load up that Australia, that Hutama and Super Friends game. And we got a question: how do quests affect your strategy?
Quests are not just the building quests that you've seen and some of these small quests that we have in the game. There are multi-affinity quests that can seriously boost you towards one affinity or the other. And if you know which affinity you're already leaning towards and you need to, say, get to level 2 of your affinity so that you can build those slightly better rangers to defend yourself from an early rush, then those quests can really help. And even knowing how to go through those quests can be a big thing. Because I know there is a specific quest that your end goal choices are either supremacy, purity, harmony, each of those affinity points, or a fourth option, which is none of the above, but you get something great from it.
Right.
And therefore, there are quests in the game that, if you're not really going for a heavy affinity base, there's that fourth option that can still give you something great and not, leave you with just another affinity point.
Okay.
Not to mention, quests drive you towards going for certain techs and for certain buildings.
Definitely.
There's the obvious quest of go research computing so you can start spying on people.
Right. Brought to you by the Culper Cell, sponsors of this program. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to jump into this current game. Okay. And this is our Hutama Super Friends save. So you want to explain a little bit about what's going on here?
I guess most people understand that the auto plant is the building being built in most of my cities. One of the things they may or may not know, I think you did cover the buildings, but I'm not sure if you covered
Why don't you discuss the auto plant and why we love auto plants, especially if we love trade routes.
So the auto plant itself, I do believe we all understand that it gives a little bonus to those international cities or stations.
Right.
But what it also has is a building quest to give you another trade route.
That's right, it does. So, and that's a trade route for the city where the autoplan is constructed. And
Right.
again, that's one of those things you get a choice. Do we want this or that? And the that is an additional trade route.
Exactly. So your 2 of 2 here for the trade routes. Those eventually go up to 3 total. And that is actually, to spoil it, the most per city that you can have is 3.
We, since Paul Australia's undergone some modification based on feedback we've heard from you. Yeah, do you want to explain Paul Australia's new revised trading ability?
Yeah. So they still have extra trade routes, but they're all in the capital. So with just the trade depot at the start, you start with 4 trade routes in your capital.
Mm-hmm.
And trade routes are extremely powerful. You can either send them to your brand new cities to get them to the point of being an actual city from outpost to help boost them.
Yep.
That initial hammer and food boost to one of those cities means that you go from 20 turns to build that trade depot to 5 turns,
Yep.
or less, and therefore you can get those new cities up and running. Even trade routes out to other civs
Right.
are worth a lot of money and science.
They're also worth quite a bit in terms of diplomacy too. Your neighbors really like it when you pipe
Absolutely.
beakers and gold, beakers and energy to them. They get pretty excited about that.
Yeah,
Boy,
so-
you've been alienating the wildlife pretty effectively.
The wildlife?
Upper left.
Oh, yes. They were in my way.
Okay.
I would like to expand, please. And I did leave the Church of the Dawn's Light here. This is a very nice city location. I could do a lot with it, but it was always giving me food and culture for my capital, early growth, early culture.
6 culture a turn. It's hard to argue with.
Yeah, and so I am bringing up all this, but I am
Where are you sending
bringing
those guys?
That's a good question. Oh yeah, I was coming down here.
Wow.
There's this wonderful little location down there.
Wow. That's a new science city if I ever saw one.
Yeah, this is
peroxide and copper. Yep. Okay. And a hill. Yep.
And poor little Slav.
I feel bad for him.
But this is an archipelago map for people who don't know. And so yes, I did sort of start a little back there, but even on the archipelago maps, they're not quite like the Civ 5 maps. They're actually a lot more land connections
Yes.
on the main start with a lot of islands out there. And obviously I went for the coastal knowledge.
Yeah, that seems to have paid off pretty effectively to
Yeah.
have that continental surveyor.
Yes, the Continental Surveyor, especially for Utama, trade routes all along the coast means I can get trade routes to everybody very, very quickly without having to worry about any issues that way.
Absolutely. Now, are you building the ultrasonic fence and then taking the option to shield your trade units, or are you just not worrying about the aliens today?
The only reason I'm spamming the trade routes like this is I have gone ultrasonic fence. I have told the aliens to please leave us alone.
Okay.
Where'd the edit button go?
The edit button?
Is there an edit button?
Yeah, so right above Freeland to the right
Oh,
of the
right,
shield.
right,
Yep,
right,
okay.
yes.
I
forgot about this.
We should rename the city something amusing, like Ragusa?
Yeah.
Hang on a second.
Can we use
Our keyboard is
the keyboard of causing? It just doesn't want it.
Freela.
Freela.
Anyway, if you wanted to rename a city, ladies and gentlemen, this is where you would go to do it. You would rename it Freela.
I was going to troll a little bit with Ragusa, but yeah.
The keyboard trolled us back. All right.
So the whole point, I guess, of the screenshot first and of where we're going with this is we have friends.
Through trade. Better living through trade networks.
And certain packs, as it were.
Oh, how did this work?
Well, if we go check out our diplomacy.
Wow, you have a lot of friends.
As friends. We have these little things called alliances.
Explain alliances.
These are not defensive packs. For one.
Bienvenido.
Oh,
Diga o que quiera.
Our friend here is actually doing better than us in science. He's about the only guy. But alliances are something that you can do after getting a cooperation agreement.
all right.
They will not sign an alliance unless they really, really like you, which means maybe you give them a favor, maybe you send them a lot of trade routes, and do some nice trading and stuff. And as long as you're not even close to their neighbor, that also helps too.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially on a water map. And then you can sign an alliance. It is time limited, and it goes both ways. So if you get attacked,
They go to war to help protect you.
Yeah, they will come help protect you. If somebody in the alliance declares war, everybody in the alliance goes to war.
Interesting.
So this is a double-edged sword. So in this particular case, I got the entire alliance to show up to defend myself against the pack.
Hola, how can I
But
help you?
if I happen to decide that Ark is also in the way,
Then everybody goes with you,
yeah.
and they go to war as well too. So that's pretty cool.
Now, the primary reason I wanted to show this is people were worried about, can you play peaceful and play diplomatically with the peaceful? Well, if you're peaceful and you make your friends, you make your allies, with alliances, you are less likely to be attacked. Less likely. Sometimes some AIs will still do it.
Slavic Federation, I'm looking at you.
But the more allies you have, the better your trades are and everything else, the more peaceful you will be able to play.
That's a great point.
And you can play with your trade routes and just continually expand. Another good reason to have everybody in that alliance rather than just friendly with you is the moment you get into a war with somebody, all trade routes to and from that civ are now gone. They all get pulled back to the city that they came from, so there's no deletion or automatic deletion of the trade units as they were in Civ 5, but that civ can no longer trade with a lot of people. And I do believe I might have one of these guys out here. Oh.
No, I didn't see anybody.
Apparently we weren't going to the Ark.
Okay.
But we can, and that little webcam's
Yep.
in the way. Yeah. Okay, so the trade route overview. You can see the outbound ones. You can see some of those yields.
Those are pretty. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Those are some pretty impressive yields.
Yeah. No wonder you have friends.
Yes, exactly. So when you're sending yields or sending trade routes to other civs, you will gain more from the trade route than they will.
Yeah.
Generally. Though there are situations where that's reversed because it's a lot of resource based and other things like that.
Correct.
The Church of the Dawn's late.
19 culture?
No, that's 19. Yeah, I had to double check that too. No, that was
19 energy. Okay, right. And that's the result of things like your virtues that you've chosen and the choices you've made on the trade depots and things like that.
But an internal trade route, you can see that when you send an internal trade route, the city that receives the internal trade route will gain the balance of the resources.
I really like sending, when it comes time to build those wonders to win the game, I really like piping those trade routes internally. You can bring the Mind Flower down from like 96 turns to a very manageable 25 or something like that.
Or less.
Yeah.
Depending on how many you have. One thing to point out, though, is just because you have the trade routes doesn't mean they're going to be very good.
Yes.
So because of these balances and changes, some trade routes are better than others. So this one right here between these two cities, not so good.
Yeah.
You get a little
assign that guy
food,
next time.
but that's about it. These are just available ones. So you do want to come check these out. Some cities, just a little production.
Yep.
There are trade routes where you get nothing.
How does that happen?
Flat out nothing. It's a weird balance point in the game where the amount of resources on each side are about the same, what you're producing is about the same each way, and it's basically, you've got what I've got, so what are we going to get out of this?
Interesting. I've never seen that, but I believe
I have seen
totally
once or twice, but so there is a bit of scaling in there as well when it comes to the trade routes. And of course, for the new builds, trade routes between cities are now a single trade route between any two cities. So as you can see, I might have, and this is internal primarily because you couldn't do that. So this trade route between Jimbuba and Frila, because we're sending a trade route from Jimbuba to Frila, we cannot send a trade route anymore from
Freeloader Jimboomba.
Yeah, you cannot mirror your trade routes anymore.
Right.
So that does make looking at your available trade routes and the yields and everything else to calculate what the best web of trade routes are a little bit more strategic.
Okay.
I think those are the two primary things I wanted to talk about with Polynesia.
Australia. That's fantastic.
Oh, there was that one last thing, because I did have a question somewhere along the way as science trading.
Bienvenido.
Yeah.
How do we
Follow
trade
this
this science? Because it is a yield, and you can trade it when you're friends.
Right.
Is the AI dumb enough to let you buy it all? Of course not.
Yeah. They just want to trade some science per turn,
Yeah.
and they're not gonna. I found the AI very reluctant to even take favors for science per turn.
Yeah. So this say for very, very simple 3 science per turn.
Venga.
That will
Volvamos.
cost me 5 Feraxite and 2 petroleum. That's actually not bad.
I'm very reluctant to sell Phyrexite to Supremacy Brasilia.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
not bad. Could be worse.
It could be. How close is he? I mean, is he more likely to go to somebody else? And how shall I put this? Apply that Phyrexite?
Yeah, well, he is already up at 6,
Yeah.
which I do believe is the current highest in this particular game.
Yeah, and he beelined for it. I mean, he hasn't even split affinity across anything. Yoink.
No.
Okay. Yeah. No.
Yeah, so yeah, and he is my good friend who lives far, far,
Oh,
far,
well
far.
then, yeah. Happy to send you the Phyrexite.
He's
This is a big map. Jeez.
yeah, he's over here.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yep.
It's across the. As long as we don't get too close, we should be okay. And if anybody's wondering why I'm okay with them attacking, is because, I do have a soldier here. The screenshot didn't quite show this guy, so he's already leveled up, and of course my rangers.
Your gunner's already in place, and you've got quick combat animations on, which is why we're not seeing that happen. Just in case anybody's watching and wondering, like, why are the numbers coming up?
We do have to remove that.
That's fine.
For the next
We'll
one.
move it on the next one up. Okay.
Speaking of which,
Okay.
I do believe that's what we wanted to cover in here. So yes, you can expand, you can make friends, you can be peaceful.
Why don't you drop back to the main menu, and we will ask a question, one of your audience submitted questions right now. Can you attack outposts without declaring war?
Oh, this is quick. No.
All right.
There was a period of time on the forums where there was this preview that sort of made it sound like we could have, but no.
In their defense, there was a point in the game where I believe that was the case, that you could do that.
Yeah, maybe.
ARC? Let's go into the ARC
let's
next.
go talk
This
to
is
the-
going to be fun.
Yeah, because I didn't actually write this as.
Oh, okay. Well, who are you?
Suzanne.
Yeah, there we go.
Actually, see, this is actually less to do with the covert ops than people might think.
Oh.
So the screenshot actually shows some covert ops, but that's not
There was
really
a lot
what I
of
was
injury.
doing.
Although, if you're playing as the ARC, you're like covert ops is going to be part of your gameplay. It's what you do well.
It's what you do.
Yeah.
But this particular game was actually more about trolling, some Xenotroll.
Okay. I'm interested in your newsletter. Wish to subscribe to it.
Yes, we must have the Xenotroll. So part of this concept here is that they do have the miasmic condensers.
Mm-hmm.
And when you drop these things down, they drop down, you get the little bit of miasma.
And they start applying it over time.
Yes,
Okay.
into various spaces. First thing that does is any trade route that might be crossing that location
Suddenly stops.
gets blocked. Trade routes do not like miasma until you get to a certain tech
Yes.
to help with the healing, or your harmony player at a certain harmony level, which I do believe is 6. The moment you can start healing in miasma.
Then the trade units will stay out of it.
Yeah, no, that's so that the trade
Or
units
the trade
will
units will not
have
be
a
blocked
problem.
by it. Right.
But there is also a tech that also gives you a little boost along that way.
Yes.
But if you want to stop somebody from having a lot of trade routes coming out of their territory, you can just start throwing up miasmic condensers there. One of the other troll situations I was trying to set up until the silly little Freelandias really, really annoyed me by placing this city. There used to be a nest here. With
Oh.
6 Xenomass.
Oh, he trolled you back.
I had a couple of units here because he kept trying to come down south. And so he's, instead of standing there forever, which we've seen before in previous games, and without just randomly wandering away, like we've also seen in previous games, he just dropped the settler right where it was.
Yep. That showed you.
Yep. But where I was going with that is that there are a number of Xenomass in this area.
Yes.
It was a nice farmy type location.
So taking military units up there and kind of farming the nest for good gravy for all sorts of
a little bit of
science.
mighty,
Yeah.
a little bit of mighty science helped. Might with industry in this particular case, yes.
Okay.
There was some farming. There was also some Purity 1 Explorer cheating.
Okay.
Well, it's not cheating because they left it in the game. But alien nests, well, when you have Purity 1, the aliens won't attack you.
Yes. That's true.
Alien nests are worth 50 science.
That's
There
lot worth
was
clearing.
4 alien nests in this area that constantly respawn.
so you kind of made a circuit of clearing the alien nests. And, okay.
Wandering back and forth with that Purity 1 Explorer.
Right. Note to self. Review Purity 1 bonus.
Yeah, just maybe.
Right. Okay.
If you would please. People have been wondering about weird locations for some of these cities. I would like to point out that this Golden Bell Temple popped in after I had already placed Liberty, and it was the perfect location because I am 3 away, which means these resources are mine.
And nobody will ever claim them because nobody can sneak a city up in there
Nope.
too. Plus, you've got basalt that you're reasonably going to get to in a turn or two, and then you've got that's silica. It's not
Yeah.
even basalt; it's silica.
Double
and then
silica.
you've got a Xenomass resource up there as well.
And don't forget the Reslin.
Oh, geez, I love paddock improvements. They're so good.
They were very nice. So yes, Golden Bell actually popped in here and gave us some nice stuff.
That's a pretty good yield too.
Which the
Food, energy, and culture.
Yeah, 223 at the
Yep.
moment.
Yep.
334 total.
Yep.
Once it finally gets up
maxes
there.
out. Yep.
I am at war because I have had to smack a few silly little guys. I seem to constantly run into this guy.
You know,
Every-
everybody ends up with Slavic Federation stories after a while.
Yeah.
Usually, they tend to think of the whole planet as theirs.
Yeah, they were spamming Zellers as I was trying to get to Prospect, and they were threatening. Actually, this used to be their settler. They were threatening to settle right there on that resource. So
That's a pretty solid spot too, with the geothermal there, especially if you're going to crank up wonders later on in the game. Hey,
Yeah.
you've got an alien nest.
yes, speaking about farming.
Let's farm it up.
Yes, so my capital has the 3-range ultrasonic fence.
Okay, so instead of
So-
protecting your trade routes, you've gone
We
out
went
to the
distant.
maximum. Okay.
Same with Axiom, also
Oh.
has it. So the ultrasonic fence, if you hit Shift G,
If this keyboard is going to.
if it works,
it's
show me the grid.
it's not going to work. It's not going to work. All right, anyway, we have
Anyways.
3 tiles out.
For
And that
my
nest
capital.
is at the 4th tile out, so
And the other side comes down to about here. So
Oh, man.
it really can't go out. And I've got a ranger just sitting here taking pot shots every time something spawns. I
Wow.
kill it. Very, very farmable, but Mr. African Union wants to be a pain in the butt. So I'm a little
go ahead and clear it out
Shit.
for him rather than have that
Yeah.
come through.
Yeah, so our not 3,000.
Yes.
Just to clear.
Yes.
I think we all understood it wasn't 3,000.
It wasn't going to end up being 3,000, yeah.
No.
It's funny.
But yes, we did get a bit in there. Yes, I will repeat, if anybody's wondering, this is not the previous build that people have shown on previous streams or other such let's plays.
Yeah, it's, well, you know,
It's newer.
it's kind of where we are with this game right now is that, and part of what's been great about showing this off to people is that, you know, we get to immediately see people's reactions to things that are in the game, and then, you know, guys like you come through and are like, you may want to reconsider how this is. I know the designers have been paying attention to it, so.
Yep.
And now we get to show everybody?
So I do actually want to get rid of some of these. I'm not actually paying attention to what I'm building at the moment because we just want to get rid of
Right.
that.
You got a worker. So
yes.
you have plenty of workers going.
and we have things we can build. If anybody wonders, yes, that health is regardless of if a unit of population is working the hex.
Yes.
So you do get the health and the other tiny little bonuses like that just for
Yes.
having it.
Correct.
Potentially, that's got a problem with 4th and 5th ring spam of the biowells for health. 4th and 5th ring biowell spam
Yep.
might be slightly broken. Don't worry, we know it might still be in the game by launch, but hey, keep in mind, we have to remember everything you see here is subject to change.
Absolutely.
Tomorrow.
You also have to. I think it takes a fair amount of work to get that many biowells going too.
It does.
All right, so let's talk about some covert ops.
Yeah.
Fun here.
Options. One thing to remember when you come look at the covert ops, I mean, you have energy, science, and tech. I should always steal tech. Always steal tech.
Sometimes I just steal the science, especially if I know the city's. And it's failed.
Sometimes you can't steal the tech.
Yep.
It was in this city. Look how easy stealing
Yeah.
a tech is in that city.
And you still
And
can't
it
do it.
still fails.
Still a dice roll. It's
And
still a
there was-
dice roll. That's what Will was saying.
It
Oh,
does
there's
help
no
if they have
counteraction.
a tech.
Oh.
If
Are
you
they
can't-
that far behind you?
No, I think it's just so much overlap.
Oh, okay. That there's no differential text between the two of you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I will find out next turn because I'm also stealing again a tech from them.
Okay.
But early in the game, I do love stealing energy because I can pay for all those buildings rather than hammering them out.
Yep.
And then switching to science later, unless I have specific builds. But one nice thing you can do,
I love recruit defectors.
yes,
I love recruit defectors.
you need an army? Let's go find an army.
Will was saying. Oh.
Oh,
Will
old
was
lady.
saying one of his favorite tactics is to go for the supremacy, emancipation victory, and recruit defectors and send them back to fight on Earth, because that's not military units you have to build yourself. It's you find other people on the planet willing to help you out, and there's a supremacy Daoming right
Yeah.
there.
Yes, we'll see who's popped in through. I do know that at least one or two of these saves is slightly later where the AI might have a little bit extra affinity.
Yep.
Progress begins
All
with
right,
someone saying
I think we
there
stole
had-
attack
to create.
and gain some progress.
So we popped up 3 levels of supremacy as a result of stealing a technology. What on earth did we take?
refused. we failed to recruit the
Oh well,
defectors, but we stole.
we did steal a tech. Oh,
Uh,
euthenics. Ooh.
Oh yeah, I think I actually stole the one before that not long ago. So she
Ooh.
may have just recently got that.
Ooh, which lets us build a human hive,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. And then that's the wonder that caps the intrigue at the city.
Yeah, there might be a good reason why she was aiming for this.
Oh, I can't imagine why.
Look at me stealing all your
I
decks.
just need to build it before she does now and complete this roll.
Exactly. So I guess this also points out something about those affinity techs.
Yep.
The further out in the tech web that it is,
The more points in that affinity that will provide you.
exactly. So the earlier tech, you will get lower amounts. The higher tech, you will get more.
Okay.
And it's always worth it to go up in affinity on those off tech or off affinities. Not necessarily right away, but some of the low-based buildings are really, really nice. But as you go on, there are other reasons to go up on that.
We should talk about some of those.
Although speaking about health,
Okay.
very quick.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
One of those things I wanted to show off, again, actually wanted to show off the affinities of the AI.
Okay.
their
So you can
choices.
see they're right there in that column there next to
Yeah,
their
in the middle
score.
one. Mostly because if you guys are watching this long enough, somebody will screenshot every single
Absolutely.
every single faction with every single affinity choice, and then you guys can answer the question of, do they have a preference?
They really don't, do they?
No.
They really don't.
They will go with what they can, but we'll provide enough games that you can have a sample.
Yep.
Excellent. But with that health issue
Yes.
that I'm currently having a problem with, when
Yeah.
it comes to virtues,
Right.
I did not go prosperity, but I am going wide.
Okay. So how do you offset that health cost?
Well, again, biowells a bit more. I am going through a bit more of industry towards the building side.
Okay.
Now, granted, I also don't have the mighty public security.
Well, that, big risk, big reward. You have a big army. As long as you can
Yeah.
keep the army, you get the health bonus. As soon as you suffer that setback, you're kind of double nailed for it.
Plus, part of the reason why I wanted to come in here is to get my strategic resources, to give more, get that free affinity, and get that boosted affinity.
And that 20% from adaptive sciences is probably why we shot up to that third rank of supremacy on that. Probably it was a result of that kicker
But,
as well too.
so yeah, there are ways to build more science. There are many buildings I haven't built in most of those cities.
Okay. Well, so we'll load into another game now. Let's go into Franco-Iberia. People have asked a lot, is wide play viable?
Of course.
Okay.
But I will qualify that, though. ICS might be slightly viable, but it is completely worth less. I mean, there is no reason to even bother trying to do ICS. Because of the outpost changes, because specialists in buildings aren't necessarily as good as they used to be, because it's a lot of flat yield versus individual things. There are lots of reasons to get lots of land and go wide, definitely.
But not the infinite city spam that we saw in Alpha Centauri or
So
previous. Okay.
you can do the health. You can do the health to offset the cities.
Okay.
There's just not necessarily a need to do it to play well.
Okay.
So the first thing I want to point out about this map is probably this.
That's a lot of terrascapes right there. You miss home? You thought
Yeah.
you'd bring a little piece of home with you.
I'm also a Harmony terrascaper.
I find that
We're
marvelously ironic.
We're making a terror-scape, not a terrascape. This is where we send all the bad children.
So let's actually go through. It's probably worth pointing out. Zoom out again for a moment. I want to show people just how many cities you have, or maybe you'll show them in a second.
Okay.
So it looks like we have some cities formerly occupied by Priscilla up there.
Yeah, there has been a few border wars.
Yeah, a couple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 cities.
And a colonist
Thula,
in a
and a colonist there, yeah, and Thula
about to burn.
about to fall apart.
Yeah.
You're about to liberate Thula.
Yeah, because we've had to convince the African Union to stay off our land more than once, again.
That's amazing. That's a lot of cities.
And we're still positive.
And you're still positive. How did you achieve this marvelous growth, MadDjinn?
Marvelous growth. What? Prosperity,
Of course.
What else did you think I was doing?
So yeah, we've talked about the virtues before, but again, this is a really kind of splendid demonstration of just
Prosperity.
how great prosperity is for that wide play.
Also keep in mind the map that we're on is a slightly different map size. So yeah, we're not necessarily taking the as much unhealth as we would normally.
Okay, because it's a different size city. Yeah. Are we ready to move on to the next one? Oh,
No,
you're just showing it.
I'm showing.
Oh, you're on massive. Yes, you're on a massive map, so you are taking less of a health penalty. If this were a standard size map and you're in 10 cities, that would be.
It would still be okay.
Yeah.
Also noting that terrascaping is an art form, including the point of no matter what base terrain, so this is all grassland
Yes.
that it's on. I do believe I have some plains over here.
Yes.
Yes. No matter which base terrain it's on, it will always give you, well, 222 until you go prosperity for the boosted terrascape to go 333.
Right.
Though there are certain ways to boost it. Because this one was built on the desert, it did lose the energy,
Okay.
but the vivarium,
Gave you the extra food because it's still technically a desert tile.
and if you build it on a tundra, there is the
Mass digester.
mass digester that puts an energy on all tundra tiles.
Yeah.
So there are ways and better or worse places to go. Obviously, snow's the best. place for terrascapes because...
There's absolutely nothing on them.
And so you're not going to lose anything.
Right, right.
And then, if you do this in the north or in the desert, tundra and desert have those extra boosts to make the terrascapes a little better. So terrascaping the area around Liqueur was more just because of the culture and everything like that. That seemed like fun.
Yeah. Then, that's a fantastic culture yield for Liqueur. That's...
It is...
Go 31.
Not too bad. I don't have much in the way of boosters.
You're not optimizing on that either.
Not
you're
even
really
close.
just pushing production. Wow.
And I don't have the wonders yet.
Oh, but you're building Bitegeist, so that'll help.
Yeah, I might be building Bitegeist. And we're heading toward alien ethics, towards... we're headed towards alien ethics for
Yep.
our extra little boost here for more culture.
Right.
Not to mention that
If you start pushing on transcendence, yeah, they're as good as mind stems for putting points towards the victory there.
Keeping in mind that they actually do cost xenomass.
It's a pretty good trade, I think.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not at war with anybody. That
might be useful. I happen to have nanotech by accident, I do believe.
you picked up by accident.
Yeah, I
Wow.
think. Not on purpose. That was just probably stole a tech from
Oh,
somebody.
okay. Well, that's fine. I mean, that's
Yeah.
goodness knows there's enough yields out of that are good.
Yeah,
And
but
still
we
support for the
already
holomatrix.
Yes.
Again, a fantastic culture satellite, and then the ability to sort of reduce the intrigue caused by covert ops in the city is always
Yes.
pretty handy to have.
especially when you're unhappy.
Yes.
Along with the other buildings along the way to really help shut it down. And of course, eventually we need to come and get some of these other things.
Yeah.
Science for nodes.
Well, you've got swarm intelligence. You've got swarm robotics. What's the last one you need?
This one
Yeah.
for the superculture.
Oh, the Mimet work for yeah.
For superculture.
For superculture. I'm thinking of things that you need to build the mind flower. The
Oh.
text that you need to pursue the transcendence victory.
And that's actually that was a question somewhere along the way. Why do some require some things and others require others? We should probably show the fact that we're kind of at war with the silly guy. He's up at 11.
Yeah, he's
There's
going to
some
be
10 there.
He's going to be starting to push towards his victories at
And
this
some
point.
10 there as well.
Yeah, and keep in mind that that's 10 purity. Would you mind clicking on Reynaldo there? We'll bring him up real quick.
Bienvenido.
Hey guy.
And then you can see now he's purity, and previously when we saw him, he was he was moving down that supremacy path. So yes, again, different game, same leader, different affinity.
Yep.
Completely dynamic.
Though, speaking about dynamicism on Brasilia, I do believe, oops, not that one, those are quests. Oh yeah, there's that little detail.
Oh, what are you doing? Oh. Well, let's find out. Okay, next turn. Let's see if you get his capital.
It is possible to lose your capital to coup d'etat.
Yeah, but let's see what happens. I want to see what happens.
Notice that his local health is only 10 there, but he's got 17 population.
Yeah, he's
So he's got that little health problem going as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say it makes it ripe for intrigue.
So let's find out what
Curious
happens.
to see if you flip that city. That would be.
1 और 1 11 होते हैं.
Oh yeah,
Gonna
she
loan
pops
her-
up.
Loan her a little bit of.
The
Float
float? Oh no, we need that. But
Get over
at
it.
least she's popped up.
Oh yeah, and Kavitha's going Harmony in this act. She's pretty far along too.
Yeah, he's also an ally.
Yeah.
She likes me. So it's all good.
Even though I told her to get over it.
Yeah.
We're gonna load this save later anyway.
You're gonna go back and load up?
I know. I never go back. I'm play Iron Man all the time. Did it go?
So close.
Oh,
So close.
all right. Did you get caught?
Yes, I do believe we got caught. But there are all these other things that we can do, like hacking the satellites. It is keeping in mind that just because you raise the intrigue level to max or anything, the difficulty level of performing the action will change based on what's there. Like, I could easily recruit defectors.
But it's a lot harder to flip the city.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even the difference between, difficulty level of a level 4 action is still moderate, as well as a level 5
Level
action.
5 is going to be pretty tough.
But, I can always just try it again.
Well, if at first you don't succeed,
Try again.
try again.
One of the last things I wanted to show was our little terraforming satellites.
Oh, there it is, the weather controller.
Yeah. One of the most amusing things to do with the weather controllers is put it in the water.
Why is that?
Because it's an unimproved tile at all times if there's no resource there.
There you go, and it's going to start.
And it will constantly put down potential for more algae or more coral, et cetera, et cetera. But because of where I put it, I am purposely limiting it to only be in this area and at the same time getting extra food being dropped down.
You get the extra food from it, you get the extra from the tiles that you're already working, you get the prospect of having that cool algae appear off the coast or the coral or what have you, and then go from it from there.
And because of all the buildings that give you boost per resource.
And then that gives you the option later on to just farm the heck out of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty cool.
I don't have the strategic resource one, but it does work very similar, except you get production as a base while you wait.
Yep.
Strategy-wise, I would suggest just, as soon as you get the first resource, take the satellite down, put a new one up.
Okay.
Don't wait for the second one.
So deorbit the satellite after it plops down its first resource.
Yeah, because you can always do that.
If you show that to people, click on the satellite thing.
Yeah.
You can see that X button deorbits the unit.
Yeah. You can say goodbye.
And it brings it to the ground.
Yep. And gets it out of the way.
Yep.
So there is that. I would always do that because it is a potential chance for 1 to 2, and if you get the first resource in the first 30 turns, then you kind of need to get that potential, that law of averages to be on your side still.
Okay.
Otherwise, you might wait.
You just wait
and still get nothing.
And it's not much production to build that, especially where you are in the game at this point. You can afford to take 4 or 5 turns and crank out a weather controller real quick.
Yeah, so this particular game, I am definitely going with terrascapes, and I'm definitely going with weather controllers. I've already had some work, so I've been picking up some extra chitin and energy around the capital while I've been spamming out. And again, terrascapes are the longest build item in the game.
With good reason,
Yeah.
I think. That's a pretty valuable, even at 6 energy cost, that's pretty valuable to...
Yeah, this one's not new. I think this one's relatively new.
No, you've only got 4 turns left on him.
That's
you've
6.
been building these for a while.
Okay, yeah, it's about 15-ish turns.
I think it's 15. I think it defaults to 15 on standard game speed.
Yeah, so I did want to show a massively massive map because they do exist. And don't worry, they would get filled.
Keep in mind, this is turn 168, and you've discovered, what, quarter, half?
If I'm lucky.
Yeah, maybe half of the world.
Half to a third.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is quite a bit more to do. Also keeping these guys busy.
Yes.
Though they are currently busy being at war with Mr.
Oh, the Slavic Federation!
Yeah.
Again!
Again!
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got my trade routes going, and we might be selling them some stuff. Diplomacy-wise.
I'm gonna bring a video.
Oh, this was not the. Oh yeah, it was a different save. We'll get to that other save.
Okay. All right, we should probably let's drop back to the main menu. We'll load into another save in a moment. I got a couple more questions from people, but we're coming to the end of the questions we have. You're actually answering a lot of them in the course of this playthrough, which is really great. Okay. Interacting with stations, what are some of the ways that you do that? Obviously, trading with them is one of the primary points of interaction, but there's other things you can do with them.
Well, obviously the trade, trade or beat them up or be happy. Only 1 city per colony, as in the whole group of your own cities, can send a trade route to the.
So
station.
No doubling up on Adept Blue.
No, you get 1.
Okay.
But there are quests.
Yes.
And there are quests that you directly get for stations, similar to Dogmatic Engineering, which is an early quest that you can get for yourself, where you choose to let the station live or die.
Yep.
Other stations that you trade with can give you quests to either trade with them if you've given up on trading with them for a little bit, or to go kill off other stations. Now, these are other stations who may actually be being traded with AI factions or other players.
Yep.
They don't mind. They'll give you boosted yield content for a period of time for those yields, and you gain an AI who likes you a little less.
Yeah. So it's a matter of trade-offs. It's
Yes.
a matter of costs and benefits.
But you can get quite a few different quests and ways to deal with them.
Okay.
Generally, it's good to keep them around because if you go industry.
I find occasionally I have to clear one out when they settle right where I thought would be a great spot to put a city. Inevitably, somebody shows up and I'm like, well, turns out
That's
you should have
usually
consulted the master plan.
Yeah. Speaking about master plan, that's usually why I actually send trade routes to them first to get that first dogmatic engineering quest.
Oh, so you actually trade with them to drive the quest to come up, so then you can beat them, cap off the quest, and get the bonus from the quest.
Exactly.
You are a calculating man.
Or I can take the peaceful side of it, leave them still there, but then I still got the peaceful side of it,
That's true.
and then I can go kill them.
Wow. You are a calculating man.
There are options.
I
You should
like
use
it.
them.
Well, let's talk about options here. We're going to play as the Kavithan Protectorate now, and you're going to talk about
Options have changed.
options
with her.
that have changed. Yeah.
Yes.
So you're playing Harmony again, and you,
Has this been a theme?
I like Harmony too. It's great.
I like my Xenotitan.
So I think first of all, point out, fly back up to that city there and show just how Zerg rushy
All right.
Harmony can be. So let's look at this city here. How many units do you have around it? 1,
All of
2,
them.
3, 4, 5, 6,
We got the
7,
main,
8 different units. Anyway,
and-
that
and
city's
there's
pretty much
more.
under lockdown.
I've been cycling some out as they got hurt. You can see there's new ones coming in.
Oh my
Old
goodness.
ones getting cycled out. More new coming in.
Yeah.
This is War the Second.
Oh, the Second Slavic Federation War.
Yes,
Okay.
they thought they'd come down and have something to say about my cities down here.
Yeah, and I noticed you've already taken one.
Yeah, I didn't like what they had to say, so I borrowed Sarek
Okay.
and burned to the ground one up here. I couldn't quite get Krobos because he was getting no defensy, so I figured, whatever. We burned one of his cities down. We took the other one.
And you've pushed him all the way up to the Arctic Circle.
Yes, so this is round 2
Okay.
that I have started. And yes, he's having a bit of a problem with our little Zerg plan. The Xenoswarm, all by themselves, not a bad unit, 34 combat strength. I might have a permanent plus 10%.
Are you pursuing might as a policy?
No. No, he got upgraded, so it's okay. This is a prosperous industrial version
Okay.
of a swarm. But basically, because I have, Xenomass,
Yeah.
yeah, there's lots.
And there's plenty of unexplored Xenomass out there, so city number 6, I guess, is going to drop down in that valley there and
in this area.
take advantage of that. So you, despite having built all of those Xenoswarm units, you still have 8 Xenomass resource sitting in the bank, ready
Yeah.
to go at this point.
And I'm still building more. So that doesn't include a couple more swarms. Vivariums, I can just keep building up. So the thing we want to point out here, though, is that Kavitha did get her unique ability adjusted.
Yes, she did.
A little
So
bit.
it is now different.
The outpost part is still the same, so it's faster outposts, conversions to cities.
Yes.
And I really want to point out how that's important, especially to a Harmony player. This particular city used to be entirely miasma. I did actually get rid of some of it so I could get those trade routes going before I hit the correct Harmony level, which I'm still not at. So I do want those trade routes to go, so I did need to get rid of the miasma. But the miasma was blocking the city from having a trade route.
Which means you can't send a trade route to it to pump it up.
Exactly, or to speed up the outpost. So that means Kavitha can drop her cities in the miasma. They will still get the boosted output, and they will become cities faster than anybody else who tried to do that. or you'd have to go get ecology of Biosmic repulsor and then eventually get the trade route, and that's just not as good.
So she's definitely able to pick up the territory on the map faster than everybody else
Yeah.
because she doesn't need to lay down that infrastructure that
Get that.
a lot of other people do.
And the thing that changed is that picking up some of those hexes around your city is a lot faster now.
Yes, that is their new unique ability. Is that you
I'm
get
just
them
into it.
twice as fast as everybody else, or half again as fast as
Yeah, so we are picking up a lot. As you can see, there's a whole 5 culture. And 5 culture over the period of a fairly long game has turned into...
That's still a pretty big grab for that city. I mean,
Yeah.
it's given you all sorts of good stuff. Silica, I mean,
Yeah.
Xenamass resources.
Xenamass.
Yeah, Xenamass. You got an undeveloped fiber resource. You've got
Yeah,
Reslin.
Reslin.
You've got, wow, yeah.
Braxite
Braxite.
going in the area. But even the capital is...
Even the capital's only 5, and you've got.
Well, at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's probably had a little less. But anyways, there has been moments of culture. So she will get it. I have left these 2 stations here because Firebase 1, as nice as it is, a little energy, a little science, and is on a 1-tile island.
I love that.
That's the best location
I've
ever.
only seen that happen a handful of times, but I love it. And New Babylon, I like the culture you're going from New Babylon,
Yeah.
which you clearly need a
Have
little bit of
been.
help on.
Yeah, so we've been throwing trade routes there. So moving trade routes around to who gets to use which station and which station yields
Yes.
also helps, because if you have your new city going to the sending a trade route to the culture station, all of a sudden it's now getting its borders expanded a lot faster than it would if it wasn't getting all that extra culture.
Which is, again, fantastic, just going to build out. So you get nice, long, stringy Sarek, which is
Yeah.
pushing all the way out to that Reslin there. And actually, you've got a nest, like,
Yeah,
right
just-
there on the
yeah.
hillside. So when the time comes, you can clear that off. You can easily pick up another, it's going to be a stretch, but
It's a bit of a stretch. There's also another one over here as well. And Huton is coming. But one thing I want to point out here, especially in this game,
yeah.
a certain mechanic change that we haven't talked about yet.
Let's talk about puppeting versus annexing cities.
Exactly. So in Civ 5, standard practice, never touch the annex button. That was for noobs. If we take a brand new city and you annex it, you cannot use it for a very, very long period of time. You have increased levels of unhappiness
Yep.
in Civ 5 for that period while it's annexed. And eventually you have to get that courthouse
Built anyway, yeah.
It was really the option that should not have been as a choice at all, but it was still there. So everybody used to puppet, and then, once you get past the rebellious phase, they'll go back to annexing again, because
Yeah.
now you can use the city. There is a bit of a difference now, and I want to show that. So we will take the city
Okay.
for now. Yes, I still want to attack anyways. So annexing the city is up at 25.
Yep.
Creating that puppet, not so much anymore.
No, still 14, but that's seems
Not
manageable
so
relative to
bad.
25. Yeah.
And you can't burn it, so there's a bit of an issue. And I do believe, we have master control here as well.
Very nice. So now our workers are flying around the map.
Yep, causing lots and lots of trouble. So I will choose to puppet our little post. And I don't know if you noticed, but
Population didn't die.
not really. And look how long we're under martial law.
6 turns.
Yeah. So very similar to the how long will your city be in Civ 5?
Yep.
Except, not nearly as long when you choose the puppet option.
Yes. Yeah.
Especially not compared to the annex. If you go full annex, the length is more. I can't remember the exact ratio. I think it was 120% of the population.
I think it's 120%. Of
Something along that line.
Yeah.
So why is it so different? Because we want it to be a real choice. So this puppet, we can always come back and annex it.
Right.
Now here's the fun part. When you do such things,
I think you need to move that mouse button back over that flag a little bit. But yep.
when you do such things, Yeah, they kind of remember that they were being self-controlled.
Well, they were notionally autonomous before, and now they are a glorious part of your empire, and they're going to be in resistance for time equal to population.
Exactly.
And that's going to be a pretty substantial drag on your health, and you drop back into martial law.
Yeah.
So explain this out. Explain why then the choice to annex versus puppet, early versus late, and why that's critical to people.
So for puppeting, you still get the reduced culture costs, the reduced tech, all the usual benefits that you get from puppeting still exist. But well, definitely one thing that they wanted to do was distinguish it from the Civ 5 side of things. So if you choose to go mass puppet, be prepared to leave it a puppet, because the amount of time you're in occupation / martial law, whatever, for puppeting and then eventual annex will always be more than direct annex.
Right.
So you get half plus equal amount.
And then if you ever do switch over to annex, you have to go back through that growing pain period of time again.
And keeping in mind that if you puppet a one pop city and then wait 40 turns, let it grow up to 10 or 12, well, it's based on the population.
And you should have grabbed it while the grabbing was good.
Yes, annexing right off the mark would have been the better plan. So it does come down to real choice. Do you want it annexed? Do you want it to be your control? Or will you take the risk of puppeting and maybe eventually have to pay for the price later? So there's no way to go puppet and then annex to basically get past the higher martial law penalties.
Interesting.
It is actually more painful to puppet first and then annex.
And then try to annex.
Depending on the population.
Very good.
Of course.
So when we all annex going forward, nobody will be able to say, learn to play noob. You can be like, nope, it was an actual decision. I made that choice.
I made that decision to want to use it. Same for raising. Raising is still very much the same. 2 times the health.
Yes.
Or sorry, 2 times the population for health penalty, because people don't like it when they get kicked into the fire.
It's gross.
Yeah.
And you're mean.
Smelly.
And you should feel bad. You're bad.
You should,
feel
but
bad.
I don't.
You're a cold man.
I do like to burn things down.
And again, we can
lots
see
of fire.
some switched affinity choices here as well too.
And a lot of people not liking the fact that
Yeah,
burn
you're
things.
really not popular.
Not a popular guy.
Warmonger.
Yes.
Warmonger.
And my target, of course, is Susan Fielding next.
And she's the only one who likes you.
Yep, but she is equally harmonious and unfortunately very dangerous, because we're in a bit of an arms race here. See, I'm getting to alien domestication.
She's going to shoot for that soon.
Yeah.
You're going to need to provide a hostile takeover of the board.
Yes, we shall have to remind her which one of us is the most harmonious by zerging our armies out.
This is frequently what people mean when they say harmony. Is they actually mean riding aliens into each other's capitals.
Yes, it's always fun.
All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to go one last save to show you guys today. And this one is pretty cool. This is the Daoming save.
Oh, yes, thank you. So Daoming, actually, this particular save is one where I had one direction I wanted to go. And then something happened, and I kind of went sideways for a while before going back to the main path.
Well, it's cool when that happens. It's
Yes.
fun when you're like, okay, dynamic change of priorities. That's always a lot of fun.
Yeah. So hopefully we can get in here, load up quickly, and show some stuff off. I do believe people did see the battlesuit in the image.
They did see a battlesuit in an image. Should we show them a battlesuit?
I don't know.
I think we should show them a battlesuit.
I think we will not show them a battlesuit.
I think you're
in
mean.
combat.
I think you're mean. I'd like to go on the record by saying,
Did we turn off quick?
yeah,
Let's fix some things for you first.
Okay, because we
that
want
would
to
be
show
extra
you
mean.
battlesuits. So this is one does not simply send settlers in your direction, and it
Yes,
looks like here
we
we
do
have
not
the
like the
Slavic
spam.
Federation, and those 3 crawlers of colonists, and one more
And
down. This is pretty typical of mid-game Slavic Federation, where
Yeah.
they are basically seizing giant parts of the continent.
I would like to point out that he is doing it while losing a war.
And this is also pretty typical of
Yeah.
the Slavic Federation as well, too.
So we are currently at the 9 level.
Yep.
We're going to finish off our mobile lev. I actually have it set up. I would show you a battle suit in action, but that seems kind of boring.
I think you should upgrade the battle suit and then show
Yes.
it. Oh, there's Barre.
And he's not too bad.
He's not happy with you because he went Harmony and you didn't. He's reminding you of that.
I'm fine with that. And I do believe we are time, so we'll try and get through this turn as quickly as possible.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm glad that you came, and thank you for bringing all these fantastic saves.
Yeah.
You know, this is a lot of really great detail. And as everybody will remind me on the stream, you're a lot better
The
than I am.
best way to
So we might be getting a little dirty soon with that bomb.
You know, I've never used the dirty bomb cover dot.
It is possible.
I know. I just.
You have to get to the affinity before you can get there.
I know. But even when I have the affinity level, you're gonna take. Are you just picking something?
Yeah, I might have a bit of the tech tree.
Yeah, you're doing pretty well. I mean, the only thing left is pretty much Lev Destroyer if you wanted to pick
Yeah.
something fun. Oh, wow.
Oh, right, this one.
Okay.
Did I mention the going sideways part?
Okay, explain going sideways.
Before we get to the battlesuit, because you can't do that. So you can see that I have a lot of this harmony-based side of things.
It looks like you were pushing pretty hard in that direction, and yet somehow you're level 11 on
Purity.
Purity.
Well, see, I wanted to go Purity first, because I had some float stone.
right.
And then I went exploring the map.
1, 2,
Two,
Xenamass, 3
three.
Xenamass right there.
One,
1, 2,
two.
3 there.
They
Oh
were
my gosh.
all nests. And this was
Oh, man.
entirely covered in miasma.
So you cleared
I
that
start
out.
here,
Yeah.
and this is what we like to call a wildlands.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's actual setup in the map where there's areas where there are a lot more aliens, but also the higher volume output for some of these strategic
And
resources.
again, always that choice, you know. What are you going to do about
So
it?
do you
You're
go
gonna risk
fight
it?
Yeah, you go risk it to fight the aliens to get your high levels, or you don't.
The answer is you do.
You do,
by
of
the way.
course you do. And what did I do with those
Holy smokes.
Xenomass?
Holy smokes. 450 energy for 10 Xenamass for 30 turns. Each time. So you have made
A bit.
a little bit, 1,350 energy off the same 10 Xenamass, and you still have a
No.
reserve. Yeah.
I sold him 30 Xenomass.
No, but then the deal expires. The 10 Xenamass come back on the
Yeah,
market.
it'll eventually come back, yeah.
Wow.
But
Wow.
I kind of looked over and said, hey, buddy, would you like some Xenomass? I'm not using it.
Wow. And that AI is going to love you.
Because, yeah, these are not all small yields. And I am going to point out there is another one up here.
Oh my god, a 10 yield?
Yeah.
Holy
There
cow.
might be a
Holy
there.
cow.
So, yeah, this was my going sideways because I saw all these Xenomass and said, I need some output.
Yeah.
Look at
Holy
my
smokes.
wells.
Holy smokes.
And I'm going to point out the well is not complete. There is still another bonus.
Yeah. Oh,
that
that's
isn't-
right. There's one more.
Yeah, there's still the culture
Yep.
to add on to it. So it's not complete. And of course, if it's riverside, it gets a little extra energy. If
yep.
it's got
On a hill,
the
you get a little
forest, yeah, the forest does not get removed.
No, it doesn't.
So if it has a forest, it keeps the extra
That keeps the
production,
production
loses
bonus.
a little food. But if it's on grass, then you get the double food, less
Yeah.
production.
Nobody's mining Xenamass for the food anyway.
Nah, it's only for food. It's
Yeah.
fine.
All right. Unit upgrades. The battle suit.
Yeah, why show a battle suit when you can evolve
When you can
it?
show hybrid battle suits. All right.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the upgrades.
Okay, this is very quick. This is part of the reason why going off affinity is a useful thing.
Yes.
Not for the core units. You can do combinations with core units, but it's just so painful to do to, say, go up to 7 affinity in
Exactly
one.
7. No more. No
Well,
less.
to get your gunner.
Yep.
To get your gunner upgraded. And then say, I no longer want that affinity, and go up 14 in a different affinity to
Yeah.
be able to get to the next one.
Yeah. It's kind of a pain.
No, but for your affinity-based units, this is where you start getting the awesome sauce.
Now, explain the shared and the differential bonuses that you can build out. For
obviously, everybody gets base strength and other bonus.
that. Correct.
There is a shared one, so that no matter which one you go to, you get the same bonus. So
it's plus 20% when flanking. That's
Yeah.
always a perk that's available to you.
yeah. Or if you want to evolve your battle suit,
You can do the Lone Wolf plus 40% when you're alone, although that's rare that you have a battle suit off fighting by itself.
when you're at what 46.
I guess
36?
you can make
Plus
compelling
40%.
reasons. You can make compelling reasons to send your battle suits off alone at that point.
And of course, the prime version is the flanking.
Yes.
So basically, next to friendly units.
Yep.
Friendly
And then
units are
Harmony,
good.
it's just straight up hit harder.
I want to go hit harder. So you always have a choice of staying true and needing more
Yes.
in that one that you have, or needing a little bit less but going with the side. So I guess we shall evolve, because I'm perfectly happy with 20% when next to friendly.
You know, and that's both on offense and defense.
It is.
Too, as opposed to just on attack, which
Yeah.
is pretty fantastic. All right,
Of course,
Centurion unit.
Our Centurion unit.
Passive heal.
I love some auto heal. But also keep in mind that some of these bonuses can be useful. So I went through plus attack, obviously, because
Yeah.
that's great. But I also went plus 10% per unused movement in the previous one.
And this feels really good for, especially Purity, where it feels like that army specializes in getting to a point in the map and then standing there and
hitting.
everything hard. So you can stack this +1 movement with that previous bonus
Exactly.
and get that, okay.
And
all
that's
right.
now plus 30%, plus 15% because we did the attack. So
Right.
plus 45% on the attack
If you don't.
if
wow.
you hadn't moved.
Okay,
So-
I'm sold.
There are ways to go. When it comes to the boats, I guess we'll just go quickly here. Every time you level up one of the boats, you get a little extra movement, but not always. Notice Poseidon has a little range here.
Yep.
The Dreadnought is...
Range strength.
range strength is way stronger. And of course, the Vindicator is...
Range strength. Range as well.
Yeah, so there is some slight differences in there, but they all get the extra plus movement, same for this one.
Yep.
And I do believe +1 range is an option, +1 movement is an option, so you get the stronger one, but then you must choose range versus movement.
Yes.
So for us, we're going to go with that +5% per unused movement, because 7, 8 movement,
And then when you're
destroyers,
yeah.
8 times 5.
Again,
yeah.
show up on the battlefield,
Wreck
sit
it.
there for a turn, and then smash them in the face. Welcome to Purity military philosophy.
Yes.
All right. Raider?
Also, welcome to air units.
Oh yeah.
Apparently you missed this one.
They're in the game, people. All right, here we are.
We're going to be very quick because we are losing. Range goes up when you go and add things.
Okay.
So
And
on the purity side, of course, you can go land versus sea or air.
we had a debate about this earlier. You're an air interceptor guy.
It also depends on what you chose for your needle jet.
Yes.
I went for intercepting on the
Okay.
needle jet. Therefore, if I'm going to go that way, I might as well go against air.
Okay.
Intercept everything, wipe out their air force. Then they can't hit my units, because even if you intercept a unit, the unit getting attacked, so your land-based stuff,
Yeah.
will still get hurt,
Okay. So
even if you intercept.
so you need to take out that. You
Yeah.
know, be as effective on the intercept as you can to
Yes.
preserve that ground unit. That makes
Crush them.
sense.
Watch and laugh. I do want to point out,
Yeah. Yeah. The additional interception is double strike, basically.
yeah, that is the Seraph, the ultimate. Then of course they've got the little boost for you can rebase and rebase.
Oh, I know.
On the same turn.
Yep.
You can just bounce around.
Yeah.
Of course, Harmony, the Shriek, get that extra healing when killing. They love that heal. They have Scatter.
Yes.
So you attack something. And
Scatter is fantastic.
You have a
There's
nice
nothing
formation.
yeah, exactly.
You-
It'd be terrible if something happened to it.
you have that nice supremacist plan where you put all your units flanking each other.
Yeah, exactly. Oops.
Oops.
Oops. And then you take a crowbar into that hole and you wedge it open.
So we will do a little shot here just to show, because,
Давайте охраним
there's
нашу
Purity
землю.
Kozlov.
Не
hey,
будем ее
look,
нищить.
Kozlov, no matter what he wears, is still going to be upset. These are our, of course, artillery units, the
Yes.
Punishers.
You've upgraded them quite a bit. They're doing pretty well.
Yeah, they're doing quite well. They do have their anti-orbital strike at this point. And I do believe I went for the extra movement. It's like a move forward, set up, fire.
Yep.
Move forward, set up, fire. Always nice.
What I like is that Harmonies eventually gets the option to not even require the setup. So it ends up being functionally the same thing.
Yeah, very functionally.
Which is pretty effective.
See, look at this speedy boat.
I know. Look at that boat.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
speedy.
so let's... Yeah.
Battle suit. You promised me a battle suit.
Battle suit. Hey, guy.
Here they are. I love
All
these
right.
units.
See, you even have a flag bearer.
Well, you got to.
So awesome.
I mean, if you're gonna do it, you may as well go the right way.
I'm doing it anyways. So yeah, they have their guns, which
And they've liberated the city.
Woohoo!
And that set it on
we
fire.
liberated the city.
Yeah, exactly. Oh boy.
Oh, this is an outpost. You have to hit B.
Oh, okay.
Again, keep in mind, not everything you see here is going to be in the face.
Yep.
Little details. But anyways, I think that is the primary side. So anti-spam law, of course, go kill all the silly settlers. Pick them up. Pick up drones.
Oh, I love drones.
Drones are great. Drones ignore zone of control.
They do, which is really handy for hit and run.
Yeah.
You know, run in and run out, and again, you're going to see the AI try to reposition to take out the drone later on. That's going to leave them open to retribution from units later on.
Yep.
This is Perry exploring the Arctic up here.
Oh yeah. See, I've got this little quest that says go kill off a bunch of aliens.
Oh yeah. Did that finish the quest off?
No,
No.
no. That was me just going.
Oh, it was
hey,
your
Kraken, how you doing?
Moby Dick.
Uh,
New Planet style.
Yeah, no, this is the quest where I got this one a little too late.
Fresh specimen. Yeah.
Yeah, see, unfortunately, I'm killing Kraken.
Well, it
Find
feels
10
really
Kraken.
good. Think about all the good, and you can combine that with that bonus from might that you're doing particularly well.
Okay, I do believe we are done with that. So
I think we are.
I hope. Oh, I didn't get to show the affinities on that last.
It'll be, we demonstrated that pretty thoroughly. I think people have got the idea that the affinities are not locked into the faction leaders, that they will pick different affinity paths during the game, that you'll be, like you said, making plans and changing plans based on suddenly discovering that you're wealthy in Xenamass and using that for trade. Yep. So I really appreciate you coming out today and showing this. And I know the viewers are going to appreciate your expertise and the insight that you have as somebody who's played a lot of this game, and just kind of how to really take their play and optimize it.
Great. I really hope that this does work out. Now, I know some people were wondering about LP style for today, but I'm hoping we showed enough mechanic changes and directions that you can go with strategies, that it's not just the cookie cutter concept for what's there. There are a lot of different ways to do things. Y does exist.
Yep.
People wanted to know that.
And I hope when you do start doing some some LP, you can call it Beyond the Old Earth Relic.
Yeah, that kind of hurts. There is one last little thing though. Just one.
What are you going to do?
You do have a stream next week, do you not?
We do. We're going to go back to the Thursday time for next week. We're going to start a game from the beginning, and we're going to do it as a Let's Play. We're going to run it over multiple sessions. We're going to go for longer than we've been playing in the past. We're going to play as Brasilia, and we are going to try the welcoming committee approach. We're going to be shooting for a domination victory, so that should be fun to see.
So I brought a special save for Pete to play with.
I'm gonna show you guys that on next week, and then we'll make a decision about whether we try a different save or not. Because I heard about this, and it's
this will be fun. And if Pete chooses to do it, I may actually choose to do the same map for the first LP when I do it, but on the proper difficulty level.
Wow, the gauntlet has been thrown. I want to thank you for joining us. If you guys get an opportunity, check out GameSpot and The Escapist. Right now, they're also streaming Let's Plays of Beyond Earth. We've had a bunch of information go out today. People taking the game out to 250 turns, so you get to see a little bit more about how the game evolves. I hope you get a chance to check that out. If you're coming into town for Firaxicon this weekend,
yeah.
that's awesome. We'll
Come
see
say
you.
hi.
Yeah, come say hi. We'll see you tomorrow at the Embassy Suites in Hunt Valley. If you're not able to come, not to worry. We are recording the panel sessions and a lot of the other stuff from the show. It'll be up online later on, and you'll be able to see all the cool stuff.
I will be sleeping though.
And you can sleep.
But hey, if you happen to be at Firaxicon tonight, there is that little meet and greet, and we will, of course, be there. Or at least
Absolutely.
I will be there. So if you happen to be hanging out in the hotel wondering, how you couldn't just like walk over to the Firaxis HQ, we will be there in a little bit.
Yep, it'll be great. Thanks for joining us today. Have a great afternoon, and we'll see you next Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central European Time. Have a great afternoon.
Bye, everybody.